Hey, hi everyone. Happy Sunday. I'm here again. You can see I'm still here in the museum. But actually things have been evolving here in St. Martin, where we have the Yoda Guy movie exhibit and where we run the Folly with Star Foundation from. We today's got a really good replay of a panel that we did a while back with experts from the field of autographs. But it's really for anybody who has ever considered getting a collection of autographs, or who already has one and wonders about, what is the right way of going about trying to make that happen. Buying and selling, the profit margins to some extent they talk about, and also about what's safe and what isn't, what's sensible practices. Here in St. Martin, things are, we're still under, to some extent, lockdown with the COVID increase. We've had a major increase in cases here since we started letting flights come in from the USA. But when we say that, it's still not, that massive. We're talking about 150 cases. Which is not a lot if you compare it with 50,000 a day in the US. It's kind of funny that the CDC put out a warning to Americans about traveling to St. Martin, when clearly it's much safer to be here than it is to stay home. But hey, that's another issue. The border is still closed with the French side, and as you know, a couple of weeks ago when they did that, that really kind of restricted us a lot. Gloria and I had to sort of separate, and I came and started sleeping here to make sure that we could keep everything open and running while we were applying to the prefecture to get a special pass to allow me to cross the border. Well, we have that now, and so when I finish the broadcast here, I'm going to be going home and giving her a hug. So that's pretty much that. As I say, the guys that are in this particular broadcast are all experts. I'm sure you've seen Porn Stars. Porn Stars is, that show where they are always selling stuff or pawning things. And they call in different experts, historical experts, and of course, autograph experts. And Steve Grad is going to be one of our main gentlemen in this, along with the guys from Star Wars autograph universe. And these guys are not just panelists, they're also patrons. Andy Luke, who founded the Star Wars universe, autograph universe, is also a donor. He's sending us autographs to be able to sell to raise money for our foundation. So these are people with big hearts, and they're good people. And with no more to do, I'm going to start to run this video for you. So we're pretty well ready to move on to our autograph panel, and we've got some great people for this. All the panelists that we have on this show are all experts in their field. We're going to bring on some of the guys that are from Star Wars autograph Universe, which is the world's largest Star Wars autograph community. But first of all, I'm going to bring on this guy that you all probably know from Pawn Stars, but actually is the head checker of autographs at Beckett Authenticators. Did I get that right, Steve?
Pretty close, Nick. Beckett Authentication. Beckett Authentication.
Cool. So,
can you see me there? You've got a few photos up, but yeah, I do this stuff on Pawn Stars. I've been on for 7 seasons now. And it's been a great time. I'm also big in the Star Wars community. We have Star Wars Autograph Universe, which is the largest Star Wars autograph collecting community on Facebook, and really one of the largest in the world now. And we conduct signings with Harrison Ford, and we do all the send-ins for Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver and many other people. So it's a great place to be, and it's actually a great time to be a Star Wars autograph collector.
You're doing like broadcasts practically every day, aren't you?
Yeah, we do our Star Wars Graphcast during the week, and you were on with us a few weeks ago, and then we are also, constantly putting out content, and this time has given us a little more time to like host some stuff at night. We do pack breaks and stuff about the Clone Wars, and we're doing a bunch of stuff on May the 4th. So it's a fun community, and I mean, I have to tell you this much: I never envisioned it ever going where it's been. But it's been absolutely crazy, and the feedback has been just tremendous for us. So it's been very exciting to be part of it. And honestly, the community keeps growing, Nick. As you know, you've been to many cons before. You see how this community acts over anything Star Wars. They go crazy. Look at The Mandalorian. Look how people are going crazy for a new show with good content. And it keeps growing the community exponentially. It's insane.
Yeah, and especially as so much stuff is streaming now, so it becomes more accessible to a lot of people.
And you met us all through the Graphcast, and I've known you for years anyway. But I think it'd be a nice thing to have the guys on, and if there's any questions or anything about about autographs and stuff, because that's the passion, Nick. You see how it is. People come to meet you, and I have to tell you, Nick. I was excited the first time I got to meet you. I mean, here I am meeting someone that worked with Stuart Freeborn, because I've met Stuart before, and I'm meeting Nick. And now I was very excited when you did your first big con. So, stuff like, I'm still a collector, so I really enjoyed that.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to step down off the screen. It's going to mean there can be 3 of you on screen at the time. You guys know what you're doing, so I'm just going to let you do it.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, and for those people who are just starters with autographs, I have to say, when I'm very cautious about where I get autographs from to be able to sell in the museum, because we do a lot of Star Wars autographs along with original script pages and various other real movie relics, but you have to be incredibly careful, especially if you like to go to eBay, because there are some autographs out there where there are so many fakes that if you look at them, the fakes are much more prevalent than the real stuff, right?
And that's true. And that's, we do for Beckett Authentication, we do a signature review for $10. If you see something, you're not sure of it, if it's, you don't think it's authentic, you could go to Beckett-authentication.com, go visit the site. You could submit a picture of the item. It's $10. We get back to you within 24 hours, and you have a better idea if you should buy that or not, because Nick, the fakes flood the marketplace. And a good example is when a Star Wars movie comes out, it's really hot. And next thing you know, the autographs just kind of flood the marketplace. So you have to be really careful. I always say to people, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. If you're buying buying Daisy Ridley's autograph for $25 and you think you're getting a great bargain, you're like, I'm doing great here, you're probably buying something that's not good. So just be careful, because you have to think what she charges, and her price is quite higher. Or Adam Driver, if you're buying one for $20, you're probably buying something that's fake. And there's a lot of people, Nick, that have that stuff in their collections and hanging on their walls. And I hope someday they realize that and are able to get some real stuff. Star Wars Autograph Universe obviously is the place to go for that.
Well, I think that's the point. It's about the source.
Even me, when I first started out, I had a problem with some posters. I was getting someone in the studio to get autographs for me, and then of course that gets I get tired of doing that after a while. And then I had someone else that I thought was giving me the real stuff, and I looked at an autograph that I knew perfectly well, and I thought, this isn't right. And so you have to be terribly careful. You need to get it from someone who is the person who has the direct connection. Even buying something with a certificate of authenticity, there are people, they'll go and they'll do a photograph with me. Well, they don't fake my signature like they'll fake Harrison Ford. They'll do a photograph with Harrison Ford holding up a signature, and then they'll sign 200 themselves and use the photograph holding up the signature as a way of authenticating the thing that they fake. There's all kinds of tricks there.
That's commonplace, and that's been going on for years. So just be careful. And obviously, Nick, the most important thing to do, just use common sense. When you're buying autographs, really use common sense. I've seen a lot of people that just don't use common sense.
Who would you like to see come on next? I'm not sure that everybody's here. But
I think Andy Luck, if Andy's here, or Tom Cathey, or Pete Chuka, or Ben Duke.
Bring up Andy or Tom. I'm asking the stage manager there.
Oh yeah, okay. So that stage manager has to do it. I like that.
Yeah, right.
You're kind of hands off on that. You're making Yoda. Okay, that's good enough.
Well, sometimes I am, and sometimes I'm not. It depends on what we're doing there.
There's Tommy.
Hey, how's it doing, Nick? Good to see you again.
I'm good, really. I'm good, and it's good to see you guys again. It's been a whole week or something.
I know it's been a couple of weeks, and Andy here is the founder of the Star Wars autograph universe, and is well known for an in-person autograph collector. So a couple of the things we wanted to talk about today were ways to collect. In-person autograph collecting, buying online. You've already touched on some of that, and then participating in some of the signings. Andy, I want to start with you real quick, if you don't mind, and talk about what led you to start Star Wars Autograph Universe, and a little bit about your history in IP autograph collecting. What is in-person autograph collecting?
In-person autographing is going to premieres, Q&As, and even the airport for autographs for celebrities, which is really cool. I've done it for many, many years, and I think that's how a lot of people actually started autographing. Most people start with sports, seeing your local celebrity at a certain signing or whatever, and it's an experience. And you get into the entertainment, and you go into your love of Star Wars, and and Steve will tell you the same thing. He chased Harrison Ford for so many years. I mean, we actually went to get Harrison Ford together many times, and it's a great experience. And now you have things like Celebration, Star Wars Celebration, where you can meet a lot of the crew members. Steve and I have also gone and done a lot of signings with behind the scenes people, because our background on a lot of the collecting of Star Wars is ILM people. Phil Tippett, all the other people that you guys have talked about. We have many pictures with Phil. Phil actually came in a tank top the first time we got a signing with them.
I'm surprised Steve isn't in a tank. Steve actually wore a shirt today for this show, which is amazing.
I wore a nice Beckett. I wore the nice Beckett shirt today.
Yeah, and then
that's the passion we had. And I think that Andy mentioned it. The ILM guys and Harrison Ford. Someone asked me, what started you, or what did you start with? And I think for Star Wars, at least, it was pretty much Harrison Ford. I started my collecting off in the early 90s, like 92, with Harrison Ford. So, and for Andy was kind of obsessed with just Star Wars autographs when he started, even though we chased together lots of different stuff. But Star Wars kind of brought us together, and but now what's going to happen with in-person autograph collecting? Just think about that for a little while.
Yeah, that's not going to happen anytime soon. But, the reason why we started Star Wars Autograph Universe was, we needed a place for everybody to come to learn and to be protected and educate people that collect autographs, because we all know a lot of this stuff costs a lot of money. Harrison Ford autograph is anywhere from $500 to $1,500.
Yeah, depending on
we talk about Alec Guinness, and we talk about Cushing. I mean, those are autographs that are almost close to $1,000. And somebody just mentioned I have a James Earl Jones and Dave Prowse. That's worth $500.
Probably. Well, maybe not quite yet, but as soon as unfortunately one of them passes, we came to find out with Carrie Fisher is another great example. Carrie's public signing was $75, right, in New York, I believe, right after The Force Awakens came out, or maybe Rogue One, or whatever. It wasn't too long after. And then when she passed away, prices shot automatically up to $300, $400, $500. We've seen recently in our sales group, pieces going for $700, $800. So we're on an absolute upward trajectory on Star Wars autograph collecting and the value.
Yeah, because a lot of this stuff, people have to understand, autographs are worth a good amount of money. And, the return of the investment on some of these autographs are 300, 400%. We just saw a couple auctions where a poster signed by how many? 200 people, Steve?
Yeah, about 200. No, 150, yeah.
Say $1,000, right?
No, it went for a little bit more than this. With fees and everything, it was over $15,000.
Yeah, it was over 15 grand.
Yeah, and then you got like cast pieces that are signed by 4 or 5 people going for $3,000-4,000. So, I mean, how much did it really cost to get that done? Maybe say 15 years ago, 10 years ago. I mean, at that time, Hamill was $100. Fisher was $80. Mayhew was what, $50
max.
And then
a lot lower than that. Yeah.
Ford, if you had to get him for free or pay for somebody to try to chase him, $500. So you probably had less than $1,000 into it, and you've already tripled your money now. If you had waited 10 years and triple or quadrupled your money.
Well, just think about this, guys, and it gives you a broad spectrum of things. When Carrie Fisher first did her first show, she did the Hollywood show, which I was at in 2002. I think she was $15 there, something like that. And then she did Star Wars Celebration. Depending on the ticket packets, you were paying $10 to $12, but her autograph was limited. She started doing shows and signings. She was still $20, $25, $30 range. Peter Mayhew, for years and years, the first time I paid for Peter, he was $5. Then he was $10. Then he was $15. Dave Prowse, the same thing. Dave Prowse was $6 the first time I paid for him. Same with Jeremy Bullock. So those prices gradually go up. But when I was doing it back in the 90s, in the mid 90s and early 90s and late 90s, the stuff was still pretty cheap and reasonable. Even Mark Hamill, I paid $25 the first time too. So, the prices eventually go up and rise, and you put your cast pieces together. Back in the day, we didn't have the luxury of a lot of private signings. We didn't have send-ins. We had to go to cons to find them, or to be quite honest, we had to go on the streets to go get their autographs. So times have changed, though, and it's made it a lot easier. I don't think the collectors realize how easy they have it. You had official pics come along with great photos. That's now taken over by Topps does that. You could still get images. You could still get stuff to sign, and you get the private signings and shows. So, I'm just thankful for the good old days where I started all my cast pieces and kept them going through the years and started different stuff. And it's been a great road. And it's been really, quite honestly, it's been a great investment. I'm very happy with it.
Yeah, and people just need to understand there's so much fake stuff out there. You just have to understand. I believe we did a graph cast about how many items on eBay and other sites using real photos, licensed photos, but they're still fake autographs. Somebody just answered, I get a Star Wars Celebration print signed by Carrie. It's likely legit. That likely legit is hard to. It's a statement that I don't think many people should say, because more than likely it could be fake, and you're out $300 to $500 for spending something that could be likely legit, and you don't want that. And you just have to make sure that like I said, we like to educate on a lot of this stuff, and we actually have a post in our group that actually says, "Is this real?" where we have our own authenticators, and include Steve, that will help you. Pete, that will help you authenticate it. Yep, will authenticate it for you, and then you can send it on to myself or to Steve, and we can actually do a third-party authentication, which is Beckett Authentication. That is the one that is the one that we endorse. Celebration prints are often licensed by official pics and marked, so they would have to have a fake hologram too. There are fake holograms,
absolutely.
And if you believe that, then I'm very good friends with official pics and stuff like that. So there's even fake PSA stickers. There's fake Beckett witness
fake letters.
And there's a lot of fake stuff. The best thing to do is to get the right information before making a statement like that. I'm not just calling you out. I'm just trying to make a statement about how things are, and we want you guys not to waste your money. And next thing you know, you're out $300-500. And it's just it's a shame that there's a lot of people out there that are willing to take your dollar. So that's why we created this group, and we are all willing to help. And it's a great thing. I mean, we have our weekly talks, and like I said, if you ever have any questions, feel free to hit us up.
Yeah, I'm fixing actually because I want Pete to get on, and you guys are so experienced, Andy. You being the founder, and Steve, being the rock star that you are in the universe with all of your TV exposure and all that stuff. I'm about to duck out. I just wanted to come say hi, and before I leave, I want to plug our website, StarsAutographUniverse.com. I want to plug our Graphcast. You can find it on YouTube, iTunes, Facebook. We just did an interview yesterday with Daniel Logan, Boba Fett, and Attack of the Clones, and Clone Wars, which that was a fun interview, right, guys? I mean, that was a blast.
It was awesome. Yeah,
Daniel is a great guy. So go check that out. Come join our Facebook group. Check out our website. I want to bring Pete Bindu in, or Pete Chuka, Legendary, so you guys can kind of talk about authentication, because I know that Pete actually did a lot of research on how many fake items there are on eBay. And I want you guys to kind of discuss that a little bit, because that's where a lot of collectors go. So stage manager, if you can bring in Pete and drop me out.
Well, he got dropped fast. I would have dropped him faster than that.
That was quick. Yeah, I would have gone faster.
Yeah, I would be like, hey, I saw his face, drop him right off. Anyway, so Steve, like you said, let's talk about you right now and Pawn Stars before we get Pete up here.
Sure.
So how'd you start with Pawn Stars and, getting into all this stuff?
2013, got the phone call to join the cast. It had started probably before that. Pawn Stars started in 2009. They had originally tried to get me on, just didn't work out. But 2013, I was able to join, and I never envisioned ever what had happened after that. So I've been on the show now, filming for 7 years. Been on about 115 episodes that have aired, here in America. And then obviously it's 190 countries. And it seems, Andy, anytime I go over to the UK, I have such a following over there. People recognize me everywhere, which is really crazy. And it's a lot of fun. And it's been a great time doing it.
You know what? I remember when I had to pick you up from the airport, and you had a celebrity on your flight. Remember?
Yes.
So we had Guillermo del Toro, legendary Academy Award-winning director.
Yeah.
We were picking up your luggage. He was like, "Hey, you're that guy on Pawn Stars," and I was like, "Oh my God! If I wasn't there, I wouldn't have believed it." Correct?
I know, and I looked at him and I go, "Did he put you up to this?" Because Andy's about to take a picture of us together. I went up to him to ask to take a picture, and Guillermo del Toro in his voice goes, "What signatures did you authenticate in Toronto?" Because I think that's where I came from. And I was like, "What? He put you up to this, right? This was all a trick by Andy." And Andy's like, I didn't say anything at all. And here it is. Guillermo goes, "Oh, it's my favorite show. I watch it all the time." So he said, "Say hi to the guys in Vegas for me. I really love the show." And I was like, "Andy, is this happening?"
I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Because I remember we were doing something and we were picking you up. Oh, we got Mr. Pete that just joined in. Hi, Pete.
How are you guys? I wasn't going to interrupt. You guys were
No.
No. We wanted you in here.
Guillermo's story.
It was a good story. I don't think many people have heard this story about Guillermo, because it was very funny, because I saw him. He's one of my favorite directors. And I was like, "Oh my God, in my bag I have a baseball." So he sketched a thing, and then Steve comes out of the terminal, and I was like, Guillermo del Toro was on your flight. He was like, "Oh my gosh, I gotta get a photo with him." And that's when all this stuff happened. I was like, "Oh my gosh, he really is a big fan of Steve and Pawn Stars." It was funny. It was a
funny story.
But anyway,
we're gonna
go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say we're bringing Pete Chuka or Pete Bendu or I don't even know what he goes by these days.
I was just going to ask you, who authenticates your autograph, Steve?
I do. I'm the president of the Steve Grad fan club. We have many members.
Yeah, right. But for those of you guys who don't know, Pete's been in the Star Wars autograph collecting community. He's kind of like, they call legacy collectors or type things. That's definitely Pete. He's the originator of a lot of stuff. He's done extensive research on the community, the hobby. He knows what's good. He knows what's bad. He's been around literally longer than anything. He's a curmudgeon. He doesn't like to show his picture. So, everybody say hi to Pete Chuka, who's a great friend of ours and a regular part of Star Wars Autograph Universe and the Star Wars Autograph Universe Graphcast.
Yep. And I want to say something, Pete. So, Pete, let's go into all this stuff with the fake stuff. So, you've been doing a lot of research on fake items on eBay. So what is the percentage in what you have found to be fake on eBay, and have there been fake stickers and authentications and stuff like that of Star Wars autographs?
the percentages change pretty much daily because you've got new items being added constantly. Thanks to a number of sit-down signings with Harrison Ford, the percentages are a little bit better than average. A few years ago, prior to Harrison Ford sitting down and doing these signings for companies like KLF, for the Star Wars Autograph Universe, for Cool Waters, the Harrison Ford items on eBay, 90% of them were forgeries. Now,
Wow.
thanks to these signings, that percentage has dropped down to about 75%. But if you're going to be, like Steve said earlier, if you think you're going to buy a $25 Harrison Ford, you're going to be burned, plain and simple.
Yeah, and what do you think about celebration stuff? A gentleman brought up a celebration print that, have you seen any forgeries on celebration prints?
Every single celebration, the companies that ran those celebrations offered those prints for sale for $5 or $10. Celebration number 2 from Indianapolis, okay, they actually had nothing available for sale. If you bought the print, it came with the autograph right from the table. That was the only way that you can guarantee you have a real autograph, is if it's on a Celebration 2 lithograph.
And that was with the embossed celebration on the bottom left or bottom right?
Bottom left in foil.
Yes.
Now,
Yep.
Celebration 2. That's the only one that you could say, hey, I know I've got a real autograph if you happen to have one of those that is signed. Celebration 3, Celebration 4, Celebration 5, the Japanese celebrations, the European celebrations, you were capable of buying a lithograph from the promoters for $5 or $10. What's to stop somebody from dropping that $5, buying however many they want, taking them home and signing them, and then putting them on eBay?
Yep.
That's why the Celebration 2 photos are collectible today, and people love them.
Yeah, they are pretty neat. And they were nice images too. And I mean, they were on a little heavier stock, but they were really nice. And I remember, actually, I still have a lot of them because I really like the images, and they were quite nice.
Yep. And those were mostly all 8x10s, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, there's no 5x14, 16x20s or anything like that.
They made some larger bits for later conventions, but all of the Celebration 2 photos or lithographs, they are 8x10.
A majority of also of the last 2 send-ins for Harrison Ford, most of them will have a Beckett Witness sticker from the signing. And then Daisy, Adam, and the first 2 Daisy signings were with PSA DNA. The other ones after that have mostly all of them. Every single one should have a Beckett Witness sticker on it. Adam, the last 2 Adam signings have the Beckett Witness stickers. Laura Dern signings have had the Beckett Witness stickers also. So we've done a lot of multiple signings with bigger people, and then of course we had Kelly Marie Tran with Topps, with the Star Wars Authentics, and they have their own authentication. We have done a lot of like different types of signings, and we actually generally prefer Beckett Witness or Beckett Authentication, and because we know that Steve is also authenticating a lot of this stuff. So yeah, well, that's true. We do have Nick Nolte, Dominic Monaghan, and then Toby Philpott all on our site, and you can check all those out.
Now, Pete, let me ask you, and let's ask Pete something too, because I really gone back to the authenticity thing, Andy, because I thought it's really interesting. Pete, what other kind of numbers for at least Star Wars stuff are you finding out there? I mean, I know the percentages and what they run, and anybody, I mean, they'll fake Femi Taylor or Ken Colley, and I mean, those are usually typical pretty show signers, but I mean, what are you finding lately?
Well, I mean, everybody, especially deceased cast members. I mean, if you're looking for Alec Guinness or Kenny Baker or Peter Mayhew, chances are 50% at least of what you find on eBay are fakes. And the safest way to go about knowing what you're getting, being legit, is either making sure that that seller already has a full certificate from Beckett or comes to Star Wars Autograph Universe to get the opinions at Star Wars Autograph Universe. That's really your best, safest way to collect. You're not going to find yourself getting burned. You're not going to find yourself having to deal with returns and trying to get PayPal to give you your money back and all of that stuff. Take that extra step ahead of time. Either verify that the piece has already been seen by an expert and verifying that number, because every one of those experts has their little stickers and their little cards and their letters, and that has a number that goes with it. Go to the website, verify the number before you drop $500, $600, $700, or at the very least, get an opinion from somebody at Star Wars Autograph Universe. Plain and simple. You could make this a really safe hobby just by taking that one extra step.
Yep, 100%. And we have a guy that was just saying he bought an Alec Guinness with a PSA DNA sticker on it. If it's real, he paid $400 in 2008 for it. I think he's doubled his money already.
I'd say he's probably
tripled.
Yeah, he's done pretty well. Yeah, I'd say tripled. Yeah, for sure. I think he
So
did
Darren,
pretty well.
there you go,
Well,
Darren.
depending on the photo. Yeah.
Yep, depending on the photo, you have maybe doubled, if not tripled, your money from 2008. So 12 years, not a bad investment. Better
Well,
than
good
any.
investment.
As long as it's a Star Wars photo, you're probably looking at $1,200 right now.
See, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to chime in. I'm checking every single comment for questions for myself, for Steve, or Pete. Here's one question from somebody that asked, IP graphing. How do you approach somebody? Well, you just go up there and say, hi, I'm a big fan, and may I have your autograph? Don't need to be rude about it, and then you should be fine. I mean, Star Wars celebrities, most of them do sign in person, unless your name is Mark Hamill. But other than that, I mean, Harrison Ford, if you do see him, he will sign. J.J. Abrams is very fan-friendly. Is there anybody that you think would have a difficulty getting an autograph from a Star Wars celebrity? Natalie Portman, never mind.
Yeah, Natalie Portman. Yeah, there you go. Liam Neeson is also mentioned too by Tom, but those are two notorious difficult Star Wars autographs. I think Neeson's a lot. I've gotten Liam Neeson 3 or 4 times myself. I'd say that Portman's probably a lot more difficult than any of them if I had to rank one. And and someone brings up here, Josh did Frank Oz too. Well, Frank Oz everybody knows Frank Oz was actually probably one of the nicest Star Wars personalities you could ever meet. Now, Frank wasn't a guest at shows and whatnot, but Frank in person, if you met him, you were going to get what you had signed, or at least get a few. And Frank was very nice, cordial, always polite. And then about 2015, there was an incident, I think 2015 or 16 at the airport in New Jersey, at Newark Airport, and that pretty much just ended Frank Oz signing Star Wars items. But he still will sign stuff from the Muppets. He'll sign stuff from different movies that appeared in the Blues Brothers, Trading Places, but you can't get anything Star Wars signed by him anymore, or it's rare. I've seen him do actually a few things. He did a top of a Funko Pop, and he did maybe one other thing that I saw recently. But Frank Oz has gotten to be a very difficult autograph, but you'll be able to find stuff signed by him because he did sign a lot of Star Wars stuff before he stopped. I think it was the last time I got Frank Oz, he signed at the Force Awakens premiere on the red carpet after the movie. Him and John Williams were signing at the same time. What a dilemma. I was getting Frank Oz, and that's the last time I ever got him.
Yeah, it's been a while for me. Last time I got him was probably a little bit before then. But, here's a question for you, Pete. I saw Carrie Fisher autograph at a Comic-Con, and where she supposedly wrote Miss Han Solo on it. Did Carrie do this?
She did that while she was releasing that Princess Diarist book. In that book, she talked about her time on set Star Wars and the fling she had with Harrison Ford. On top of that, the movie had just come out that had the storyline that they had a son, which was the whole birth of the new, sequel trilogy. So the Mrs. Han Solo thing, I think, was her little way of tying in her book sales along with the new movie and the new storyline.
Yeah. Now, occasionally, and just to clarify, she would write stuff like Princess Leia occasionally, PLO occasionally. But boy, it was really, really hard to get those inscriptions out of her. Most of the time, she'd just be like, nah.
If you
PLOs,
asked her, she would say no. If she
Yeah,
chose
she'd
to
be
do
like,
it
nah.
on her own, she would throw one out here or there.
Yeah, and I mean, I even remember getting her back in San Francisco at a show she did there, and I didn't ask her on anything purposely. It was the final piece I had, and it was one with Cushing and Prowse, you know, the scene from Star Wars. And I said, I really need you to do Princess Leia Organa. And she goes, oh, I have to do it on this one. So usually I would reserve it if I saw her. I'd ask her for PLOs once in a while. I'd ask her to write something funny. She was usually up for that. It seemed like later, Pete, the more that the years went on with her, she was more willing to do that, and especially the stuff you mentioned. And those are some cool pieces. I really like them. I don't even know if I own one.
She had accepted who everybody on the planet knew her as.
Exactly.
She wasn't one of these people who put her nose in the air and said, you know, I'm bigger than that. I've written books. I've written screenplays. She was so totally okay with being Princess Leia at the end of her life. She had fun with it.
Yeah, and she was awesome. She was awesome. Very fan friendly. Whether you saw her on the street or at a con, she was always the delight. Like her and Gary, all around, it was awesome. Here's a question for one of you guys. Tom tried to answer this. How much would you say a Tim Morrison on a Jango Fett doll is worth? Tom threw out, depends on the doll, and $80 to $100 off the top.
Yeah, dolls
Probably,
are really tough. You've got to find that right collector who wants, if it's the 12-inch doll or if it's one of the original little action figures, you really need to find a collector that wants that specific piece. And that's why it's going to be kind of a more difficult piece to sell.
Yep, that's awesome.
And Pete does not collect dolls. So let me just clarify.
You know, I think I have a grand total in my collection right now, maybe 5 action figures that are signed. That's it.
Yeah, but are we talking about a doll or an action figure? See?
We're talking about blistered, bubble-packed, an action figure. Some people like to call them dolls.
Okay, here's a question.
So I have a lot.
Does having an autograph personalized to a name immediately reduce the value of it?
For the most part, yeah. I mean, unless it's probably Michael Jordan, but I mean, even then it would, yeah. I mean, the rare instance where having a personalization doesn't matter after years. I mean, like if you have a personalized photo of Humphrey Bogart, it's still going to go for pretty good money.
Yeah,
Unpersonalized one would still go for
like that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you have a personalized photo of Mark Hamill, that's probably something you're going to put in your back pocket. Just keep the way he pressed down so hard on photos. They're hard to get off. Someone asked me this question recently. If you're going to stuff personalized, I would probably, if it really means a lot to you, get it. But I mean, at some point in time, if you're planning on reselling it, don't get it personalized. You know, I mean, everything's going to be for sale eventually, folks. So just think about that.
Whether you sell it or your family sells it afterwards.
Right.
Exactly. Somebody's going to sell it.
Yeah,
look out for your family and skip the personalization if you can.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Exactly.
I've been trying to buy this one Joe Exotic autograph photo made out to Andrew for $200. I don't think nobody's going to buy it after next year, but you know, I kind of want it because I like Joe Exotic. It reminds me of Steve.
I say just do it.
Thanks. Just buy it.
Oh, he's got the King Lion hat on. Tiger King, King Lion, whatever.
Same
well,
thing.
Wait a minute. I was wearing this before the series ever started. This is a long time, guys. This is years and years of wearing this. So nice try.
Anyways, let's talk about the future of Star Wars autographs and the potential investment for it. We've always talked about it keeps on going up, going up. You know, we have still a lot of people from the original trilogy that is really up there in age. As each person passes away, what does that do to our hobby and the investment of everything? You want to hit that up, Pete? Pete, you're really good at this one.
I think the biggest factor of all is the fact that Lucas decided to sell this intellectual property to Disney. The fact that he did that, we know there will be Star Wars movies, there will be Star Wars content, there will be Star Wars television shows from now until the end of time. They will never not put out Star Wars material. And because of that, there will always be new interested collectors. And if that's the case, there will always be somebody who's out there saying, I really, truly love Star Wars. I absolutely have to get a signed Carrie Fisher. I have to get a signed Peter Cushing. I need an Alec Guinness in my collection. Knowing that there is a future for the franchise, you automatically know there is going to be a future to the hobby.
See, there you go.
And I agree with that. 100%. Yep. Well said.
Here's a question. I have a Boba Fett bubble figure signed and authenticated by Jeremy Bullock, Daniel Logan, and Mark Austin. I want to know, I know it's worth more than what I paid for the signatures, but I was wondering what it would be worth. You probably paid, let me see, Jeremy Bullock is what, $30? Daniel's probably $30, and Austin is probably $30, so $90 plus a figure, $100 for everything.
So maybe $125. You know, I mean, obviously Jeremy is in frail health. I would probably keep adding to it though. I'd add a few more of the Boba Fett guys if you could. If they did shows at some point or signings, I definitely would add on to that.
Dick Beers, Don Bees, Nelson Hall, if Nelson Hall does another show. Glenn Randall. There are a lot of different guys who put on that suit and, you know, did Boba Fett. John Morton. So you could fill that action figure up with names, and then you'll have something that you could actually show off and say, look at this, and probably get more interest in it.
You could probably easily add 5 to 10 more names on that, and it would be something that would be very, almost not one of a kind, but very limited. And the value over the years would be a lot on that figure signed by that many people. I think Joe Johnston would be a huge one to get on that one too. So again, you would have to do some research on who Joe Johnston is, but Joe Johnston is one of the creator for many characters that you guys see. Right?
Thank you.
Again, thank you for all the time, Nick. Again, we have a wonderful interview with Nick, and you know, hey, you know what? For your museum, and you sell things there, right? I want to donate a whole bunch of Phil Tippett autographs for you to sell there.
Oh, I would love that. I would really like that. Thank you. That would be terrific.
If we can find some other stuff like Daisy and stuff like that, that's all authenticated. We'll send that over to you guys. That's our gift to you. And like I said,
I am so touched by that. Really, thank you guys. It's very generous. I've got a couple of, you know, there is still a little time left here, I think. According to my time, we've still got 10 minutes or so, don't we?
It doesn't always mean someone's selling something legitimate, right, Andy? If it just says AFTL, you know, yeah, it's like here in the United States, don't we have, what's the other group that it's part of?
UACC.
There you go, Pete. Thanks.
Yes.
Yeah, the UACC. And it doesn't, I see UACC stuff all the time. It's just an organization you join to help give yourself more credibility.
And it's not very credible.
They used to have much more respect, and they used to have more policing within the industry amongst the dealers. Today, it's more, you've got those initials at the end of your certificates to say you're a member of that group. That's all it really means.
Yeah, and that's it. So be very careful.
You know, I know that there are sometimes people that you look at the autograph in the photograph that they're putting up, and it looks okay, and they either then send you something that is not what they showed when they had it up there. I mean, you guys can't say, oh yeah, that's a real autograph, if then what they do is they switch
the old bait and switch. Yeah.
Thank you. And then similarly, the other thing that I've seen happen is that they send the piece, but it's not actually an original autograph at all. It's actually, the autograph is in a photograph that they've reprinted. You know, there isn't really much that people can do to protect themselves from that, is there?
Well, sometimes on eBay, there are two different categories. There's a category for original autographs, and there's a category for movie photographs. Okay, and those movie photographs tend to be the ones that are just prints.
But I've seen some specifically where the people said that they were hand done, and then when they arrived, you just had to look at them. You knew the autograph was right, because I know the people, I'm doing stuff with them, and then I'm looking at the gloss on the photograph, and the autograph is clearly in the photograph. And then when you talk to them, they say, right, no, it's real, and then you got to argue to try and get your money back and all those things. I think it's better. I think the moral of that story is that when you're dealing with somebody on something like eBay, you're dealing with an anonymous person. Maybe eBay know who they are, but most of the time most people don't. It comes back to really dealing with an authentic source, a source that you can trust, rather than some obscure person who says, oh, I got this at the stage door, and it was, and they give you some elaborate story that's actually a piece of nonsense.
You would be so surprised with people that would lie to us when they post something. We're like, oh, that's not real. Well, I got this by myself. And next thing you know, we use that image that they sent us, and we found out that they bought it on eBay. And then we're like, hey, you really didn't get it in person. You bought this off of eBay. You're just trying to show off and stuff like that. It's fake. No. But
the other really important thing that I should really mention that I don't think we've touched upon yet, as Star Wars Autograph Universe on Facebook, that's our discussion thread. Everybody on there comes on and they talk about autographs.
Yes,
we also have Star Wars Autograph Universe sales page, where every single item that is put up for sale has been looked at and verified by one of our moderators or one of our administrators that knows what they're doing. And we can guarantee that that transaction is going to happen the right way, and you're dealing with a real person. So you want to have a safe place to come and look at autographs that you may want to buy. Star Wars Autograph Universe. Once you're a member, somebody will point you in the direction of the Star Wars Autograph Universe sales page. We also have Autograph Universe and the Autograph Universe sales page if you are collecting something that may not directly relate to Star Wars. Maybe you want an Arnold Schwarzenegger autograph, or you want a Gal Gadot autograph from Wonder Woman. You'll find that stuff on our Autograph Universe sales page that you can trust.
And it's going to be as good as it gets. I mean, if you're worried about going to eBay, I mean, you know what? You could take a chance there. When you go to our sales pages, you're not taking a chance. And I mean, you might not agree with the prices, but at the same time, you're buying real product. When you go there, we vet all the stuff that goes on those pages. So, rest assured, and some of it's Beckett, some of it's not. People are putting stuff out of their collections all the time there. I mean, I found great stuff there. I know Pete has. There's great stuff to buy and sell there. Hey, Pete, let me ask you one more question. Besides Ford, obviously, because I think he's right up there, who do you think is the most forged Star Wars autograph of all time that you've seen? It's repeated. We've seen it through the years. And I mean, I'm going back, let's go back 20, 25 years, or even back to the early days of Rebel Scum when people were posting stuff till now. What is the most forged person you've seen?
I would have to say for a very long time it was Alec. But in the last few years, Carrie has definitely caught up. We see lots and lots of bad Carrie Fisher stuff, especially since her passing.
But let me ask you this. You mentioned Alec. Have you yet to see anybody that can actually forge his signature on the level of people that are doing Carrie now? Because the Carries, I've seen some terrible ones, but there's been some that have been like, okay, these people are getting a little better. I still don't see people able to do Guinness or Cushing on that type of level yet.
Cushing, no one's touched. There was one guy about 20 years ago who had Alec's autograph dead to rights.
And it's always very intriguing to me because I've seen Alec forgeries. Obviously, they're done very poorly. Peter Cushing.
Usually, luckily, they are.
Yeah, very poorly. And he did some things that I'm not going to mention here, some little things that I know about that I'm not going to give away. And I've seen plenty of them in the last year, especially year and a half since Beckett's gone. and done more shows in the UK, I've seen a load of really bad Guinness, Cushing type fakes. Even Ford, Alex McCrindle, Jack Purvis. People are doing all those people. Sebastian Shaw's, we've seen a lot of people.
I really want to say that those super rare minor names like Jack and Alex McCrindle and Eddie Byrne, those have only really started to be forged in the last few years because people realize how few there are out there, and they think they're going to make that quick buck on the hardcore Star Wars collector that has to have them. There were no Jack Purvis forgeries 20 years ago. You know, all of the forgeries of Alex and Jack and Eddie, that stuff's really been in the last 5-10 years because people saw how rare they were.
And we're seeing it more and more, especially with Sebastian Shaw. And I've seen so many in the last let's just say last year, where people are targeting signature styles that don't make sense, the autographs that I don't like. You know, they're getting old album pages or book pages, and they're putting that stuff out there. And it's become pretty frequently, actually, to see those type of deceased names, the guys you mentioned, Byrne, McCrindle. You know, the one person I haven't seen people touch yet is Graham Ashley, who I think is more rare than any of them.
Because they don't have a sample.
Yeah, I know, and that's it. And Gus Webb, who I've seen one of before.
Exactly.
Just eventually expect those.
As long as those people that have the real ones keep those scans offline and don't let these forgers get a good sample of it, they'll never, ever try it because they don't have an exemplar.
Right. There's not enough to go on.
Yep. That's
pretty crazy.
Here's a question. What about Peter Mayhew autographs? Is that a pretty forged autograph?
Well, lately, I mean, yeah, in the last year and a half, I've seen plenty of bad ones. I mean, he did sign enough, but man, like, you know, like if they're deceased, I think Pete touched on before, deceased cast members. I mean, if they're deceased, people are going to target them, right, Pete?
Absolutely. The thing with Peter is the last 3 or 4 years of his life, his autograph was so random. It's not like you'd get two back to back that even looked remotely close to one another. So again, with Peter, it's a matter of when was the photo available? When did he sign it? What was his signature like in 96? What was his signature like in 2004? Forgers, they don't pay attention to that. They just see a Peter Mayhew autograph. They say, hey, I could do that. And then they copy it. But then things don't match up. The photo is too new. The signature is too old. And they end up getting themselves into a pickle.
Yeah, and you know, Peter Mayhew right now is still very affordable. 8x10 is about what, $75 to $100, or maybe $125.
Yeah, just depending. I mean, yeah, if you're talking about a really, you know, one from 20 years ago, maybe a little more, but yeah, he's still very, very affordable.
The quality of the photograph, the quality of the signature. If you get all of that stuff to line up, you're going to find somebody's going to charge more for it. But if it's your average photo and it's his average scribble, you're definitely going to be able to get one for in that $100 range.
Okay, we have
somebody else posted here. Do you want to do it, or you want to? Yeah, they worry about buying secondhand is going to become the only way to get autographs. I like having signed things, but for me, the real joy comes from the memory of meeting the person. I think we're going to go back to that at some point, and it might not be for a few years, but I think at some point we're going to go back to it. Unfortunately, I think a lot of people could die in that time frame, you know, not from COVID, but just natural causes or whatever. And we're going to lose people in the next 2 years that are part of the Star Wars galaxy. It's just going to happen. So you might not have a chance to meet them at shows, you know.
Please join our group, Star Wars Autograph Universe. We are on Facebook. We have about 7,000 members. And like I said, we do signings, and we're very interactive. We love doing our open mics and stuff like that. And we love talking to everyone and meeting everybody from all over. Of course, we have our weekly Graphcast that we can find. It's the Star Wars Autograph Universe Graphcast presented by Beckett Authentication. And that's on YouTube and also on our Facebook page. So we not only have a Facebook page, we have a Facebook group, and we have our website. So we have a lot of interactive stuff. We're very social media driven. And of course, like Steve, what kind of other things that people can follow you on?
If you want to follow me on Instagram, The Real Steve Grad, or Twitter is Steve_Grad, and also Autograph Expert Steve Grad on Facebook. If you just decide And any of those are all available. Come see me on there. I usually post and try and put up content, especially Instagram and Twitter. I'm pretty active on. In Twitter, I usually call out. I try and call out every week 2 or 3 bad sellers on eBay. So if you go follow me on Twitter, you could kind of look at some of the people you want to avoid.
Awesome. And of course, Pete, you're on Facebook. It's Pete Bendu. Myself, I have Instagram and Andy FD, and my Twitter is Andy P Luck LUK. So again, follow us. Whatever. If you have questions, please hit us up. We'd be happy to help you guys out. Especially with if you're making a huge financial decision, because we all know that this stuff is a lot of money, and we would love to help you guys out.
I think I'm going to have to say thank you so much for your expertise that you brought to this panel, and I'm so grateful for the donations that you said you're going to make. We
love you, buddy. We love you.
Yeah, we'll take care of you, Nick. We'll get some stuff off to you for sure. We want to help you out.
Yeah, and I hope that you've given all your links and other things are there, but you're pretty easy to find for anybody who puts in Star Wars autograph universe. So, I'm hoping that people will take your advice and understand how easy it is to get ripped off. As you say, if it seems like a cheap option, then it's probably fake.
Yep.
There you go. Thanks, Nick.
Good
luck
Nick.
to you, my friend. Thanks for having us on.
I hope we're gonna meet up again soon.
So that's pretty much the end of that replay. One of the things that nobody really touched on to any great extent that I think is a very relevant issue is fake certificates and authentication, because, they talked about, going back and looking at stuff that was authenticated by Beckett or Star Wars Authentics, which is Tops, or official pics. But there are people that are faking the authentication as well. The critical thing over most of those holograms and other items that are on anything like that is that they each have a unique number, or at least they're supposed to have a unique number. And if you can quote that number back to the source, now by that I mean whichever company it is that has authenticated it, whether it's Beckett or whether it's one of the others, then they can look up that number and verify that what you've got is authentic or otherwise. So just keep that in mind as well. While that was running, someone asked me about the bust that's behind me. You can see that is actually a perfect likeness of the original Yoda, which is played up by the way it's lit. Actually, if you check photos of Yoda standing in the forest, you'll see it's actually identical. And that piece is from my version 2 Yoda that I'm in the process of finishing at the moment. This particular one has been made as a cold pour bronze as a display. And it's right here in the museum when people first come in to take a look. So if you're interested in more of our broadcasts, then do join STARnetEvents group because we post info and updates there. And of course, if you want to be a part of the 4-hour live shows that we do, then you become a donor, and you can do that through our Patreon page. The address is on the bottom there. You can donate as little as $5 a month, and it gives you access to all of these panels live when they're going out. And usually we do 4 to 8 hours a month of these kinds of panels. and you can ask questions and other things. So it's nice to have access directly to the panelists. Our next scheduled live show is supposed to be next month. I've got to get confirmation on it, so it's not 1,000%, but it's going to be a zombie based piece. So it's a bit more adult than some of the others. So I'm not recommending it necessarily for your 5-year-olds because it's going to be a bit gory along the way. Stuff from movies that I made and stuff from movies that other people have made, and also talking about techniques of how you do that for yourself for Halloween or for your favorite cosplay event. So thank you so much for watching. This is Nick Maley at the Follow Your Star Foundation, trying to encourage you and other people to live extraordinary lives and be creative, make stuff. Don't spend all your time watching TV or playing video games. Sorry about that, but that's what I do. So from the Yoda Guy movie exhibit here in St. Martin, thanks for watching, and I'll see you another time.